اجتماعا مرحوما واجعل تفرقنا بعده تفرقا معصوما. اللهم ربنا لا تجعل معنا ولا منا ولا بيننا شقيا ولا مطرودا ولا محروما. وبعد, my dear respected brothers, my dear respected sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward all of you greatly immensely for your coming tonight for this beneficial knowledge and lecture. It's nice all the time to connect our life with the Quran. And when I asked Dr. Ashraf, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward him the best, what do you like the subject to be? And he told me the miracles of skin in the Quran, and he, surprised me because it's really amazing subject. And after wallahi, even I am a Hafid Quran, I have in my mind a lot of verses about the skin. But after he told me that, like I just recited in the Salat al-Maghrib, there are a lot of verses in the Quran, talk about the skin. And today, inshallah, he's going to talk about the miracle of skin in the Quran. And Dr. Ashraf, as everybody knows, is a well-known doctor in this area, mashallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase him in knowledge and everything. He has a PhD in MD, mashallah, it's amazing. We are proud of him. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless him and his family, and to see a lot also from our community to be successful in their deen and in their lives, inshallah. Okay, I will let you to enjoy listening for my beloved brother, Dr. Ashraf, inshallah. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless everyone who is here today. Jazakumullah.
Jazakallah khairan, brother. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. May Allah reward you all. إن الحمد لله نستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ به من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. وأصلي وأسلم على خاتم النبيين المبعوث رحمة للعالمين محمد النبي الأمي بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الغمة وجاهد في الله حق الجهاد. فجزيت خيرا سيدي يا رسول الله، وجزى الله من سار على نهجك واختفى أثرك إلى أن يرث الله الأرض ومن عليها، وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد، أحباب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم، نعوذ بالله من فتنة المحيا ومن فتنة الممات، ونعوذ بالله من فتنة المسيح الدجال. The first, basically, I'm talking about the skin. The skin, I have to give you a short introduction so that we can understand the miracles. The more you know, the more you appreciate the Quran, and the more you appreciate the Sunnah. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءِ. طبعا the straightforward Arabic is kind of twisted, but that's the balagha. إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مَفْعُولٌ بِهِ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءُ هُوَ الْفَاعِلُ. So the one who is afraid is the one who's knowledgeable. And the one that is afraid from is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the more you know, the more you appreciate how great deen is and how the Quran is. And these are the verses, the more you read and you more understand about it, basically it settles your belief so that you will have this kind of serenity in your heart. The skin, just generally speaking, and I'm trying not to go into sophisticated details, is made up of layers. And I decided not to show projectors because basically, first of all, some pictures are not suitable to show in the mosque because basically skin is a body, and a body is naked part, so I cannot show it in the mosque. That's number one. Number two, people tend to sleep when we dim the lights, so I want you awake so that you can appreciate what we say. Skin has three major layers: surface, which is epidermis, and then the second one is called dermis, and then hypodermis. So three layers. The surface of the skin is waterproof. Waterproof. Otherwise, we would dissolve. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not create the surface of the skin to be waterproof, it would be a disaster. So this surface of the skin is made up of 5 layers, started from like stratum, too many strata, multiglia, basal cell layer, and then eventually they get compressed, and eventually at the end, they lose the nucleus, they die, and they call what we call squames. Squame means just like a kind of like a rounded thing or irregular, and then these are accumulating in our top of the skin, the top of the skin. These areas of dead skin are basically, we don't want them there. That's why you hear about all of those cosmetics and the billions of dollars that are paid for chemical peels and laser and microdermabrasion and all of that, because so you want the skin to be shiny and nice. And I'll teach you how to make your skin shiny and nice with very cheap way, inshallah. But back again to the layers of the skin, epidermis, dermis, and hypodermis. The most important thing is to know, for example, do we feel with our skin? Yes, we do. I mean, you know, if you put your hand, or when you're doing barbecue or something and you touch it, then, oops, you know, you feel it. So the reflex that protects you is the feeling pain itself. What is important thing is that we take things for granted. Like, for example, right now, you have a car, but let's say a few hundred years ago, there was no cars. There was just camels and horses and things like that. Now we take it for granted. There are many things that were invented, and he said, can you believe that we feel through the skin? He said, of course we feel through the skin. What do you mean? But if you go and read the literature, starting from the medievals, and then up to, tell you what, 1943, the first publication that said that we have nerve endings in the base of the epidermis and we feel through that. Before that, they would think that there's bad evils and kind of things like that are responsible for psoriasis, responsible for this and that. So people didn't think about the science itself. Soldiers in World War II, not even one, World War II, 1943, fighting, shrapnel, burning, pain, and then the pain disappears and they go back for fighting. So one of the physicians started to think, why these guys are not feeling the pain? They are going back for fighting because they have what we call third-degree burn. And third-degree burn destroys the epidermis, it destroys the dermis, and it destroys the hypodermis. There is no feeling. They don't feel the pain. 1943. Now we take it for granted. Of course, we know we have nerve endings. That tells, what are you talking about? Of course, we have cars, you know. But there was no cars there before. And there was no knowledge before saying that we feel through nerve endings at the base of the epidermis. And I'll tell you right now why this is miraculous. More than 1400 years ago that the Quran is talking about the anatomy of the skin, the histology of the skin, how we feel through the skin, and what all of these kind of ins and outs. But before we start, we say how many cells in our body? Anybody guessing how many cells? Billions. Okay, I have an answer, billions. But our body in Arabic, what do we call? Jism or jasad? What should we say? كم خلية في جسمنا ولا should I say كم خلية في جسدنا? ما الفرق بين الجسم والجسد? What is the difference? Two words in Arabic, they are very close, but in English it's body. Just one body. I can't translate it differently. It's only one thing in English, but in Arabic it's two things. جسم and جسد. جسد له خوار. عشان تحفظها ما تنساش. يبقى الجسد اللي ما فيهوش روح, the body that doesn't have soul, a dead body for example, a cadaver, would be جسد. ولكن the other one is الجسم, basically have soul and body. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when he talks about Talut, إن الله اصطفاه عليكم وزاده بسطة في العلم والجسم. They know Nabi, he's a prophet, he has jism, like body, and a soul. إذا رأيتهم تعجبك أجسامهم. If you see them, you will like their bodies because they are like people. He's talking about the hypocrites. On the other side, when you talk about the prophets, when he talks about, like, you know, he says the one that has the soul, but when he talks about Jasad and Lawfuwa, the Al-Ish, which is the bull that the sons of Israel was worshipping, basically was a body. The word Jasad. So basically we will say Jasad for that part. It's just a point that is nice. So here is the skin, and here is the kind of the miracles of the skin, and scientists basically were really kind of puzzled how to calculate how many cells in the body. Because too many methods, and if you use some methodology, will give you some results. Use a different methodology, will give you different results. So one study said there is, and don't be surprised, 37.2 trillion trillion cells in the human body. And then another study found that it's 724, that means 724 trillion, not billion, trillion cells in the human body. Well, the skin is not a big deal of that. The skin has only 35 billion cells. So the skin, our skin, have 35 billion cells. Now, how many human beings on planet Earth? How many people? Anybody knows? 7.5? So China like 1.3, Egypt is like, yeah, if you add China 1.3 plus Egypt is at 100 plus here plus that, the total people living on planet Earth is 7.5 billion. You have 35 billion cells. 5 times the number of living people on planet Earth you have cells on your body. Isn't that in? But by the way, for those people, million have 6 zeros, right? And then billion have 1,000 million, so that's 9 zeros. And then trillion has a million. So basically it's 12 zeros. So if you get confused about the zeros. So this skin basically have 15 billion cells, and it changes in 3 weeks. So in 3 weeks, you kind of shed those cells, and you get more and more cells coming back. Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created skin? If you have a precious house or a factory or whatever, you don't want trespassing through it, right? You don't want any kind of intrusion. So you build a very nice fence around it. So the function of the fence is to contain that precious thing. So basically, the function of the skin is to invest us. We are invested in the skin, and that skin protects us mechanically, and as we said, the senses and that kind of stuff. So the important point of the skin, not only that, but tons of other functions. I can't just say all of them, but for example, regulate body temperature. You know this thermostat over there? That thermostat, kicks in when the temperature just changes, so that it maintains the temperature here all the time, 75, the temperature that you love. Your temperature is 37 degrees Celsius, and basically it has to be like that, normal. Of course, there's normal range. Some people tend to be a little less, some people tend normally to be higher. But all of that is regulated through the skin that evaporates. That's why we sweat more in the summer and we don't sweat that much in the winter. And constriction of vessels here and dilatation of vessels here bring more blood. Blood brings temperature, evaporation. It's like if you think about an engineer to invent something like that, he must have been genius. But this is not an engineer. This is the creator who created these human beings. Other things, for example, it prevents loss of our body fluids and protects our skin from bacteria and viruses and all of these kind of things. Secretes toxins through the sweat. Too many functions actually, but there's no time kind of to talk about it. So we said we have 15 billion cells of the surface of on our surface, which is basically the skin. So when I graft some skin cancer, take it out, then you have a defect, and then you graft, you take skin from behind the ear like a hidden area. So don't yell at me, hidden area, so no one sees the scar of the donor side, and then put it on the disease side, and I tell them, remember, this is not going to stay forever. In 3 weeks it's going anyway, like any other skin. But I need like a biologic dressing, like a tire patch, excuse me for the word. Something kind of like draws vessels, fibroblasts, blah, 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 and then eventually it becomes nice and clean. Like when you kind of, what do you call, cock it, or cock? I always have a problem pronouncing that thing, when they just cock it before they. So basically that's what it is, and that's what you do in the graft. So eventually we lose skin. 30,000 to 40,000 skin cells are lost every, fill in the blank. 30,000 to 40,000 cells are lost every hour. Every 60 seconds you lose 30,000 to 40,000 cells. Basically in 24 hours you are losing how much? 1 million cells. So in a day we are losing 1 million cells. I lose it at work, I lose it when I'm in wudu, I lose it when I'm just driving. I'm losing thousands of cells all the time, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is generating new cells. Question now, what is the longest time that you stay in one place at a time? At a given time, what is the longest time, what is the place, that you stay in that place longer time? On the bedroom, because you're sleeping 8 hours, 7 hours, 9 hours, whatever, you sleep 12 hours, some people sleep. So that is the time that you're staying in one time, in one place at a time. So if you lose 1 million cells in 24 hours, so at that time, we're talking you're losing 500,000 cells or 400,000 cells. You know what does this mean? It means that your bed, if you look at the microscope, it would look terrible. It would look really terrible. And what happened is that mites, which is an organism small like scabies and things like that, they grow on these dead cells. They don't like barbecue, they don't like kind of carbohydrates, they like your dead cells. And that's why Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said this hadith, إِذَا آوَى أَحْدَكُمْ إِلَى فِرَاشِهِ فَلْيَنْفُضْ فِرَاشَهُ بِدَاخِلْ إِزَارِهِ ثَلَاثًا فَإِنَّهُ لَا يُدْرِي مَا خَلَّفَهُ عَلَيْهِ. Hadith Rasul ﷺ, when you go to bed, you clean your bed 3 times with your like, kind of sleeve, so that basically you don't know what's going on in there. Because basically that's all. So, because if you read that hadith, you think, oh yeah, I mean, in older days, they were just like breaches everywhere in houses. They live in tents, and it might be like a snake here, or it's like a mouse here. So you need to clean the bed. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about 500,000 cells dead on your mattress. So you need to clean that. Okay, so that is a miracle also that Muhammad ﷺ knew more than 1400 years ago. One of the miracles also is the color of our skin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have created all of us white, could have created all of us black, or all of us brown, but He changed the colors, and that's why وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ خَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافِ أَلْسِنَتِكُمْ وَأَلْوَانِكُمْ إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِلْعَالَمِينَ. One of the miracles is the color of the skin. It's different. It's different. Imagine a factory is producing one thing, and that's it. It's just like one thing. Even look at the mentality of these companies. You notice on the shelf too many things. They are all the same, but they are different colors. And this is just like blue, and this is red, and this is. They change the colors of the bottles, and you don't know what's the difference between them. Sometimes there is difference, and sometimes there is no difference. This is to show that they are different. We are kind of, creative, and we produce different things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best creator, so He created different color for you to think about it. Why do we have color in our skin? We have cells that produce pigment. That pigment is called melanin, and that cell is called melanocyte. That cell produces the pigment. If you have that cell very active, then you have the very dark skin, like the African skin. If you have that cell that is not that much active, then you have lighter skin, and that's the white skin. Until recently, a couple of decades ago, there's a name, Dr. Fitzpatrick, classified the skin into 6 types. Type 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then 6. Type 1 is the Irish, always burn, never tan. Type 6 is the dark skin, always tan, never burn. So the dark skin, always tan. You go to the beach, they get darker and darker and darker and darker. They never burn. They have protection. They have a filter. But the Irish skin, for example, that redhead person, if he goes in the sun, he always burns. He always burns. But he never tans because he doesn't have the skin. His cells are not active to produce the melanin, so he never tans. Even if you put him in tanning bed, he will never tan. You have to paint him so that he will be tanned. So that is the different types. Fitzpatrick skin, those are the different types of our skin. Different colors, miracle from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is important. And you see the distribution of the population. Of course, with migration now, you have black people in America, you have black people in Sweden, for example. But in older days, most of the people in the colder areas are white, and most people in tropical areas are dark because of the sun. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created it that way for protection. The sun is dangerous or good? Is the sun dangerous to us, or it is good? Of course, it has good things and it has bad things. Like, is the meat good for you or bad? Of course, if you eat like 3 kilogram meat every day, it's going to be bad. So the same with the sun. If you stay laying out in the sun every day, or like 4 times a day, and you get exposed to the sun, you get skin cancer after that, and they get senility or destruction of the skin and wrinkles and that kind of stuff. So in moderation, everything that you have to protect yourself from the sun. You don't have to lay out in the sun to get vitamin D. It's only in a pill, and in your now food you have vitamin D that is really enough. So you don't have to kind of lay out in the sun to make D. Just minimal exposure to the sun is important to you. How many hairs? There are skin appendages. What is the appendages? The accessories. You know the accessories in the car, the toys in the car? We have accessories for the skin too. One of them is the hairs. One of them is the nails. How many hairs do we have? We have 300 hairs in a square centimeter. A square centimeter, which is a small centimeter, is, the inch is 2.5 centimeters, so you can calculate it's probably 1/3 of an inch. So basically we have 300 hairs in that square centimeter. 300 hairs, just on the body. But in the scalp, we have tons of those. We have 100,000 total. And it increases, the blonde has more, and the dark people have less hair. So we have hairs and we have hair follicles. What's the hair follicle? Is the root that generates the hair. Any trauma that destroys that hair follicle, eventually you have problem with the hair. So you get a person, very nice hair. She has very beautiful hair. She got pregnant, got a beautiful baby, and all of a sudden her hair is gone. Not gone like totally, bald, but just like very, very light, and it's not good and things like that. So what it is the trauma stops that cycle. It goes in cycle, it matures, called anagen, catagen, telogen, and then goes again. And that cycle is eight months. So you have to wait 8 months. So you have to tell the patient, you have to be patient. The cycle takes 8 months, so you have to take your time, take deep breaths, and think about it. So we have 5 million hair follicles. So the roots, the seeds that we have in the scalp is 5 million per scalp. One scalp has 5 million. And then they generate and they get you 100,000 of those hairs, and the hairs goes, and we got hair follicles coming back and forth. Also, hair color is different. Some people are blonde, some people redhead, not redneck, okay? And then some people have different colors and things like that. Very, very important. So, the hair in the skin and the next are what we call the appendages. We have sweat glands. And different types of sweat glands. We have eccrine, apocrine, and holocrine. Eccrine, basically most of the body. Apocrine, armpits, groins and things like that. Holocrine is basically modified, like in the ear that produces the wax that you see in the ear. All of that skin appendages. With something called sebaceous glands, what we call oil glands. It produce oil more in the face, so your face is more oily than your hand, for example. Now, the skin of the hand is different than the skin of the foot. Because the hand, we don't have hair here, but we have hair here, right? So the palm and the sole of the foot are designed in a way you don't have hair, and they have thick skin, and they have receptors that receives vibration and balance. See the receptors. See when the engineers produce things and they put receptors everywhere. So you think about the design. So that is created for free for you. Subhanallah. Don't feel shy to say Subhanallah, by the way. Okay, we're here to remember Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. So basically, this type of skin is different than that type of the eyelid. The eyelid is thin, doesn't have that much hypodermis. More elastic fibers move up and down, up and down, up and down. So it has to be thin to do this function, as opposed to the skin of the back that is very thick because it's supposed to be strong. So it doesn't have that much elastic fibers, but basically it's very thick. So you have thick dermis of the back, which is the second layer of the skin. That's why, do we have different types of skin? Of course we have different types of skin. Skin of the eyelid is different than the skin of your nose. Skin of your nose is different than the skin of the ear. Outer ear, like external ear, different than the inner ear. Then the genital skin, then the skin of the palm and soles. All of these are different types of skin. Take a section from the skin from these different areas, they will look different on the scope. The basic structure is the same, epidermis, dermis, hypodermis, but they are different in thickness, different in structure. Here there's hair, here there's no hair, and so forth. I take a section from the skin and I take a section from the liver. The liver has right lobe, left lobe. I take a section from the right lobe, from the left lobe, from the upper part, from the lower part, right part, left part. Under the microscope, the liver looks the same. I'm not talking about ducts. I'm not talking about gallbladder. I'm not talking about all of that. I'm talking about the parenchyma, or the tissue itself of the liver. They are all the same. But the skin is different. Why all of this introduction? Is it boring? No, it is not. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He talks about skin in the Quran, He talks in the plural. He never say gild or jild or skin. He always says skins. When he talks about the hearing, إن السمع والبصر single. فإنها لا تعمى الأبصار ولكن تعمى القلوب التي في الصدور. So Allah talks about the vision or sight, about hearing by single and by plural in different verses. When it comes to the skin, only plural. 7 or 8 times in the skin, mention the skin, always plural. To tell you that you have gulub, not guilt. You have julub. تمام? So basically, let's go into some points. How many pounds of skin do we lose a year? We lose 1.6 pounds. Now, if we take our skin and put it next to each other, by the way, it's going to be almost 2 meters square. 2 meters square like a sharshaf, or they call it what? Comforter or a blanket. So that is basically the size of your skin. And you lose 1.6 pounds a year when your bed that we agreed that we're going to clean it every night, right? فسبحان الله وفي أنفسكم وفي أنفسكم أفلا تبصرون. In your body, don't you ever see your body and think about the miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the creation. Why we are mentioning that? Why we are here today? Because of this verse. What is that verse saying? إنما المؤمنون الذين إذا ذكر الله وجلت قلوبهم وجلت قلوبهم وإذا تليت عليهم آياته زادتهم إيمانا وعلى ربهم يتوكلون. So here we are looking for this زادتهم إيمانا. It increases your belief. When you think about these verses and you look and you have that knowledge, oh subhanallah, look at this. Why this has been created that way? Subhanallah. زادتهم إيمانا. So it increases your belief. Can we tie the recent technology and the recent advances in skin with the Quran, with the Sunnah? Let's see. The science tells us that the skin has memory. The science tells us that the skin hears. The science tells us that the skin talks. So our skin has a memory, our skin hears, and our skin talks. Something that is really amazing. Let's talk about the memory of the skin. First of all, we have an article 2007 in neuroscience is talking about the memory in the skin. Of course, we have memory cells in the blood that will remember the vaccination story, so that you will have memory of that chickenpox we had it when at the age of 7. When it comes at the age of 30, we have memory cells that defends against that chickenpox. So we have that. When we're talking about this simple thing that we know decades ago, we're talking about something new. Something new is called CAM-K2. It's calcium calmodulin dependent protein kinase 2 molecule. That molecule is basically in high concentration in the brain and in many synapses, which is a connection of the nerves, and is present also in the skin. It carries the memory. It carries the memory. That's discovered in 2007. So the problem right now is that we have a memory in our skin that is actually cumulative. It's accumulating all of that information and knowledge that we get exposed to, which is really very fascinating. Fascinating that you think that the skin remembers, everything. So you have like a burn, and basically we need to graft, so we take that skin from that person and put it there. The skin will reject it, like when they reject anything else, because that skin has memory that's different than that, like fighting each other. So what they did, they came and they destroyed that molecule, so that basically we'll have what we call genetically engineered fetal skin, and we'll produce different types of skin that we can use. So that's kind of like a blank CD. The CD or a flash drive is kind of like, it's the new generation of it. So basically it has information, you can delete all of that and you can start from scratch. This is exactly how it is. They destroyed in mice, they lost their memory, and they exposed them new stimuli, and they started to accumulate new memory. So the skin has a memory and remembers. The longest memory, and not only the skin, by the way, almost every cell in our body has a memory. But what is the longest memory that is discovered scientifically is the memory of the skin. This is the longest memory. So, and now they are working with the stem cells, and we all heard about the stem cells and genetically engineered, and they play with that a lot. So remember that the skin has a memory, and scientifically proven. The skin has a language. The skin speaks. The skin has a language. What is the language of the skin? It's the language of different things in the universe. It's the frequency. The frequency basically of the cells in the human body has been under a lot of investigations and research, and basically they know now almost the frequencies and the resonance. Put it that way. I love that word, resonance, because everything is in harmony and they resonate together. If my resonance likes your resonance, we love each other and we come and things like that. So the skin cells resonate and they produce language, and that's what it is. And there are estimates now of the human body resonance. DNA has also that, and there is a recent study also that proved that DNA would have that also resonance, and is stored in the memory. So what we are facing now, we are facing the biggest organ in the body. The biggest organ in the body has memory. The biggest organ in the body has memory and also speaks and also hears. So that is the resonance, and that's basically the memory. So the question now is, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking in the Quran about the skin, there are too many things, many verses. So the first one is what Sheikh Shadi Jazallah Khair recited in Salat al-Maghrib, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بِآيَاتِنَا سَوْفَ نُصْلِيهِمْ نَارًا كُلَّمَا نَضِجَتْ جُلُودُهُم بَدَّلْنَاهُمْ جُلُودًا غَيْرَهَا لِيَذُوقُوا الْعَذَابَ إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ عَزِيزًا حَكِيمًا. Verily those who are not believers, they don't believe in Allah, or they don't believe in our miracles, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking, سَوْفَ نُصْلِيهِمْ, will give them punishment. That punishment is fire. It's called نَارًا كُلَّمَا نَضِجَتْ يعني, when we say نَضَجَ الطَّعَامِ in Arabic, it means stout. So if you boil meat, basically, and when it reaches the point that it became stout, which is
Right.
Right, yeah, I'm missing the point. So basically, right. Or in talking about meat, we'll say roasted, completely roasted. Najiba. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using the verb stout, right, roasted. Guluduhum. So the skin in plural, like what we said, there are different types of skin, they are all melted away. Like burns. Dermis is gone, first degree burn. Dermis is gone, second degree burn. Pain a little bit. Hypodermis is gone, third degree burn, but there's no pain. So the people in the hellfire, they will sit happily, crossing their legs. Oh, we are in the hellfire, our skin's burned, I don't feel anything, I'm happy in the hellfire. But Allah is saying, no, this is not the case. The case is that skin is gonna come back. بَدَّلْنَاهُمْ جُلُودًا غَيْرَهَا لِيَذُوقُوا الْعَذَابَ. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. I'm sorry about it, but I know, it's Quran, I have to say it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said the word بَدَّلْنَاهُم, and He didn't say أَبْدَلْنَاهُم. There's two different words in Arabic, أبدل as opposed to baddal. You have a 2017 Camry, and you didn't like it, so you go back to the dealership and say, I didn't like it. He said, okay, I'll give you 2017 Camry. You have a black, I'll give it white. It's the same car, same year, same everything. This is baddala. But if you go to the dealership and say, oh, I don't have it, but I'll give you 2017 Ford Taurus. So we give you a car that moves, has AC and CD, it's exactly the same, but it's not exactly the same. This is istabdala, or abdala. Allah used a verb, He said, baddalnahum, meaning that He's creating another skin with the same DNA, with the same memory, with the same thing that has disbelieved in Allah, and that gludan basically is different, but it's the same. لِيَذُوقُوا الْعَذَابَ. And the verb لِيَذُوقُوا, they will taste the punishment. Because these people, when that skin melt or roasted or ripe, they are not feeling it, because we all know, agreed, that we feel through the skin, so they don't feel the skin. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, oh, you're not going anywhere. You stay, and that skin is coming back, and the punishment is coming back, and repeat. And in another verse, He's saying, يُسْهَرُ بِهِ مَا فِي بُطُونِهِمْ وَالْجُلُودِ. By the way, this is a different topic. Maybe we'll have a chance, inshallah, لو كان في العمر بقية, so we can talk about burns in the Quran. Just different burns. I know, I'm sorry, but the skin comes always with punishments in the Quran. Almost always. No, except one verse. تَلِينُ جُلُودُهُمْ. So only one verse is just the happy thing, but everything else, unfortunately, is bad. But we'll talk about that some other time, because there's no time right now. يُسْهَرُ بِهِ مَا فِي al-butun. So when you drink something, it's like boiling. It would melt your intestine, and it would melt also al-julud, plural, different types of skin. الله نزل أحسن الحديث كتابا متشابها مثانية تقشعر منه جلود الذين يخشون ربهم. When you feel Allah, you feel that nice feeling, and you have that skin, we call it goosebumps, you know, that kind of stuff. Why do we have that kind of bump? Because there is a tiny muscle in the skin that is inserted in the hair to the dermis. When you feel that, it contracts, so it pulls the hair. Our hair is always asleep like that. But when that contracts, it pulls the hair. يقول لك وقف شعري وقف يعني إيه from the fear. So basically, it contracts. When it contracts, it pulls on the skin. So one skin is dropped and the other skin is bulged. So that's goose skin. That's why when we hear Allah and that nice feeling that we all experience of fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it said what? It said basically تقشعر منه جلود الذين يخشون ربهم. القشعرة دي عبارة عن إيه؟ Contraction in these muscles and the skin becomes firm. What is the opposite of firm? Soft. Slack or soft. Soft in Arabic is تلين. ثم تلين جلودهم وإيه كمان وقلوبهم لذكر الله. So basically you feel Allah. You have that nice good skin and then your skin becomes soft and your heart becomes soft from the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ذلك هدى الله. May I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us all to the straight path. يهدي به من يشاء ومن يضلل الله فما له من هاد. Now, in the next verse we have skin in three different situations. إذا جاءوها شهد عليهم سمعهم وأبصارهم وجلودهم. So these are the people who are bad. They went to the hellfire because they are bad. They didn't believe in Allah. They didn't do good. So شهد عليهم, they witness the hearings. سمعهم, the hearing مفرد. سمعهم, single. وأبصارهم, and their sights, plural. وجلودهم, and their skins. بما كانوا يعملون. Look at the miracle now. وقالوا لجلودهم. وقالوا لجلودهم, and they said to their skins, لما شهدتم علينا? Why do you witness against us? You're our own skin. قالوا أنطقنا الله. They said Allah made us speak. الذي أنطق كل شيء. The point here that made me to stop, why these kuffar in the hellfire, they are asking only the skin. He said, look at the verse. وقالوا حتى إذا جاءوها شهد عليهم سمعهم وأبصارهم وجلودهم. So three witnesses, سمع, أبصار, جلود. But they didn't ask السمع, they didn't ask the sights, they only asked al-julud. Because it's very, very obvious. You disobeyed Allah with your eyes, and your eyes is recording. You saw with your eyes. And you disobeyed Allah with hearing, you heard bad things and namima, blah, 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 and stab in the back, and you heard with your ears. So you have senses that you can appreciate that bad thing through the ear, and you could have appreciated also through the eye. But you did never expect that the skin is recording everything that you're doing. So it seemed as if that at that day of judgment, they know that the ears heard and the eyes saw, but they didn't think that the skin was recorded from the memory that we have. So they said, وَقَالُوا لِجُلُودِهِمْ. They didn't say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't say, وَقَالُوا سَمْعِهِمْ أَوْ لَأَبْصَارِهِمْ. Only talking to al-julud. لِمَا شَهِدْتُمْ عَلَيْنَا قَالُوا أَنْطَقَنَا اللَّهُ الَّذِي أَنْطَقَ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ. So it is very important to realize that these skins are, you're being watched, brothers and sisters. We are being recorded. Am I invented that? I'm not inventing. The Quran is saying that. إِنَّا كُنَّا نَسْتَنْسِخُ مَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. You know, في محلات في مصر النسخ السريع. You know, نسخ means the copier. The copier like a shop has the copy machines, and you go and you just, those guys, for students, they go and they just make copies and that kind of stuff. Copy means naskh. The verb naskh, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّا كُنَّا نَسْتَنْسِخُ مَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. So, the naskh هنا basically is like copying. I'm copying you all the way. You're being copied all the way. So you're not gonna, فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ? فَأَيْنَ, where are you going? عَبْدِي إِن لَمْ تَرْضَ بِخَضَائِي فَلْتَخْرُجْ مِنْ تَحْتِ سَمَائِي وَلْتَتَّخِذْ رَبًّا سِوَاهِ. Challenge. If you don't accept what I'm saying, just go away. Just go away from beneath my heavens and from on top of my earth and find somebody else that you can worship. It's a challenge. There's no, where are you going to go? There's no way that you can go. So the important point here is, at the day of judgment, and these guys are punished. They are punished because they disobeyed Allah. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we obey Him, and we will be amongst the righteous people. But before I end, I have to remind you that the Quran not only talks about this, but He talks about the angels that also write it. When He said, "Inna kunna nastansikhu ma kuntum ta'malun," we are copying everything that you've been doing, and at the day of judgment, then someone would say, "You did this bad deed," and I said, "No, I didn't do it." You know, some people will say, "No, I did not," and then your skin is talking, "You did it." Your eye, "Oh, you saw it, you did it." You're here, and not only that, not only your body is witnessing against you, but there are angels writing everything. And this is very clear in the Quran. It is very clear in the Quran because, for example, in Surah Al-Infitar, وَإِنَّ عَلَيْكُمْ لَحَافِظِينَ كِرَامًا كَاتِبِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ مَا تَفْعَلُونَ. There are people are all the time, 24/7, writing everything that you are doing. And in Surah Yunus, وَإِذَا ذَقْنَا النَّاسَ رَحْمَةً مِّن بَعْدِ ضَرَّاءٍ مَسَّتْهُمْ إذا لهم مكر في آياتنا قل الله أسرع مكرا إن رسلنا يكتبون ما تمكرون. They are always writing. Surah Qaf, we all know that this is shivering. That's the good skin we're talking about. إذ يتلقى المتلقيان, right and left, عن اليمين وعن الشمال قعيد ما يلفظ من قول إلا لديه رقيب عتيد. You have right angel and left angel, and they are sitting with you 24/7, writing good things and bad things, and basically they are there. In Surah Al-Zukhruf, أم يحسبون أن لا نسمع سرهم ونجواهم بلى ورسلنا لديهم يكتبون. So there are always evidence in the Quran saying that there is a day of judgment, there is punishment for those people who didn't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there is always evidence everywhere in the science now that prove that these verses did not come from in vain. They are coming from the Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who created it. Just for the sake of the time, I'm going to mention two things because people would like that. How to make your skin better. How to make your skin look nice. So basically, the skin has dead cells like what we agreed about. These are the squames. To make your skin nicer, to take these dead cells out. There's a couple of layers, and these layers can go thick, they can go thin. So you do what we call peel. You've probably heard about peel. Peel, you can go and pay hundreds of dollars, but it's a very cheap way to do it at home. You can do it yourself. You can get some sugar, like brown sugar or white sugar, whatever you like. You're not going to taste it. And then basically you put some honey on it, a couple of, like 3 teaspoons of honey with some sugar, and you mix them very well, and you put a few drops of lemon juice. And then basically in a circular way, you just touch your skin with that. And after that, you rinse with warm water. If you do that every other day, you will have very good things. $5 or $6 loafa from Publix can do the same thing too. But you know, honey is good and things like that is good. Before I finish, I have to tell you a hadith of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Al-fitratu khams, أو 5 من الفطرة أو كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم. الختان، الاستحداد، نتف الإبط، تقليم الأظافر وقص الشارب. فطرة يعني فطرة بالإنجليزي مش عارف. فطرة is the nature. We created with the nature. Number 1 is al-khitan, circumcision. This hadith of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And until year 2014, debate in science: shall we advise parents to circumcise their boys, or shall we not advise them? And finally, the CDC, Center for Disease Control, they finally had that advice that you should circumcise boys, and even adults that are not circumcised should be counseled for circumcision. So 1400 years ago, Muhammad ﷺ said that circumcision is good and should be good for you, for boys, I'm repeating, and basically, and now in 2014, CDC is saying that. The American Academy of Pediatrics is saying the benefits grow all the way, the side effects, so they advise people to do that, but they always left it for the parents because of litigation in this society. You know that they don't want someone to go and sue the American Academy of Pediatrics. So this is left for the parents, but we advise doing it. So go and read about it in the internet. You will see uncircumcised male will have higher incidence of skin cancer of that particular part. They have higher incidence of urinary tract infection. They have higher incidence of sexually transmitted disease. And now I'm not sure this is a result or a cause. We're not going to go through that. But this is one point. And then the last point we're talking about is al-wash, which is tattoo. لعن الله, according to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, الواشمة والمستوشمة لا تشمن ولا تستوشمن. So basically the one who's doing it and the one that is being done for, put it that way. So, and then again, how many patients do I see that they have tattoo and they want to take it out? You go for laser, you want to do dermabrasion, you want to do chemical peel just to take it out. They don't like it, but they did it. But if they listen to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that is haram. Many scholars said al-washm haram, which is basically tattoo is haram. And too many studies about the psychology of these people who had tattoos. They are always lower class, always have problems, blah blah blah. And even if they were good, but let's say a movie star who's kind of very rich, billions of dollars, and then he has tattoo, but now he wants to take it out. So most of them, they want to take it out after they put it. But this is haram, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, more than 1400 years ago, he said that haram. So brothers and sisters, talking about skin seems like it's more than what we thought that is going to be finished in like, an hour. But the take-home message right now is that our skin has memory, our skin resonates, hears, and talks, and is going to talk at the day of judgment. So make it in your advantage, make it in your side, not against you. We're not angels, otherwise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Hadith al-Quds that if you don't do bad deeds, we will let you go and bring other people to do bad deeds so that they will ask for forgiveness and Allah will forgive them. But that is not a carte blanche to go and do bad deeds. You try your best. Saddidu wa qaribu. Try as much as you can to go to the straight path. And the important take-home message also is that that as-sam wal basar, they are tied to the deeds that you do. They are recording you, so they are basically when you sit. We're talking about dhunub al-khalwa. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would protect us and you from it. That basically you are recorded from your own body and you are recorded by the angels. According to the Quran, I'm not inventing verses. These are verses that is talking about that. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help guide us to the straight path, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive all our bad deeds and to guide us so that we go to the straight path and stick as much as we can. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to gather all of us, like what our Shaykh always say, with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the paradise, inshallah. What is that? Anybody has questions before we go? And feel free to ask any questions, If I don't know, I'll say I don't know. That's what I used to say, by the way. I used to teach at the University of Florida, and I said, if your professor said I know everything, know that he knows nothing. So basically, I always tell my students that if I don't know, I say I don't know, because that's a human being.
How does the skin store the memory? And over the brain.
Store the what?
The memories.
The memories?
How the skin, physically?
Well, first, basically, it has to do with the DNA, and that can to like what I told you about. It's these chemicals stored in. Actually, there's a very nice figure I can show you. After that, it has the architecture of the amino acids and the arrangement and all of that. Basically, it stores the memory that way. So it's like the genes, they store the memory that way. The memory of the brain is totally different thing. The memory of that memory of I know you and you know me, and when at high school we just killed a cat, or this kind of story. So all of that things. So basically, that's different type of memory. This is memory at the molecular level, at the molecules. And basically the skin is
stored the DNA structure?
The structure, yes, exactly. The DNA. The DNA itself resonates. Evidenced by science.
Yeah, when people get burned, the new skin comes white.
Yeah.
White and white. and it doesn't come as natural the rest of the skin. Second part of the question, when people get old, sometimes they get white skin without being burned. They lose the color of the skin.
So two different things like about white skin. First of all, on burns, as we said, there's first degree, second degree, third degree. First degree burns takes the epidermis, second degree burn takes the epidermis and dermis, third degree burns takes all the 3 layers. Now, if the burn is a first degree burn, it takes the surface of the skin. That's not going to be white. But second degree burn takes the skin surface and maybe light a little bit, but not white. It takes the dermis. So the skin that comes over it basically originates from the edges, and the cells that produce the pigments called melanocytes fail to go. So eventually you have very thin skin that is flat on top of a dermis. That is why it's depigmented. So that's why that's number one. Number two, it has a scar. The scar is a lot of fibrous tissue, and that contracts and also is responsible for that. When the scar matures, eventually the scar is made up of blood vessels and fibroblasts. So it has blood vessels, brings more blood, so it's pink. Now, after 6 months starts to mature, these blood vessels constrict, so there's less blood, then it becomes whiter. So that is the age of a burn, so it looks like that. So contraction and also the thin skin that doesn't have the melanin. Now, in aged skin and older skin, we don't say old skin, otherwise I would be out of business. I'll say people mature skin. So the mature skin, basically, that's exposed to the sun can do 2 things. Can destroy your skin in terms of the wrinkles that you see, because the skin loses collagen, and the collagen is the one that makes it nice and tight. So basically it becomes lax. So you see that wrinkles. And also the sun can destroy some melanocytes that produces the pigment. So you will see some hypopigmented areas, meaning that lighter areas. So you can see those light areas in the skin. There's something called heliotrope from the sun, heliotrope. That's a very famous and old skin for white people. You see dark light, dark light, dark light. So this is mottled kind of skin. This is classic for aged skin. Yeah.
Jazakallah khair, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you the best. Actually, I read science article about the relation between wudu, ablution, and protection of your skin. And this study in the Middle East about, like Saudi Arabia, it's so much hot, but people don't have skin disease because of the wudu. What do you think?
Yeah, he's talking about al-wudu and how it protects our skin from microbes and things like that. And Hadith Rasulullah, he's talking the meaning of which that if one of you has a river in front of it and then he's washing himself 5 times a day, he wouldn't have any daran or wouldn't have any problems. Because it's very important to wash the skin. Well, the skin basically has, billions of bacteria on top of us, and commensals and mites and things like that. Especially with electron microscope, you see all of those. So the wudu cleanse as much as you can from all of these. These studies are done. I think the one was done also in Al-Azhar College of Medicine. I think Benin. They have Benin and Benin. And then basically they take cultures from skin. Of people who are making wudu and culture skin that is not basically cleansed 4 or 5 times a day. Basically, they found that this skin culture less bacteria. So yeah, that confirms Hadith Rasulullah. So any other questions? Yeah, I have one there.
Okay, so if you get a 3rd-degree burn, like it's sort of a tumor, like would it grow back? But if it can, like how long would it take?
Yeah, 3rd-degree burn destroys the 3 layers of the skin, or even at least the 3rd one is half of it. The surface, which is epidermis, the 2nd one, which is dermis, and then the lower one, which is hypodermis. So when they heal basically with scar tissue, and then eventually the skin from the edges, the surface, we're talking about the surface, grows as much as you can. And eventually there is rules in it's called creeping effect, that they cannot cross over. And eventually you have an ulcer that's chronic ulcer and doesn't want to heal. So that chronic ulcer, because they can migrate that much from all the edges to cover a big area.